checked. Stop recording checkbox checked. Studio mode checkbox. Stellaris.
Hello everyone, this is Zach Klein, aka Blind Guy NW, and I am here today to demonstrate how I play Stellaris, the 4X strategy game, without being able to see. I have no usable vision whatsoever and rely on a few programs to help me with this. And the one you will be hearing most often is called a screen reader. It is free, and the program itself is called NVDA, Non-Visual Desktop Access, and it has, among other features, the ability to run OCR on the game screen, and that is incredibly helpful for a game like this. There is also an add-on for it called Golden Cursor, which enables me to position the mouse to a variety of planned bookmarks, and you'll be seeing that. And finally, there is a mod for Stellaris itself, which helps improve some of the readability and makes things like finding hyperlanes easier. So basically, my process is I'm going to start a new game here and run through a few of the opening moves, so to speak, and show you how that works. So I have the main menu up, and I'm going to hit N for new game, and then run NVDA OCR.
Recognizing. Result document.
The thing about this is that it takes about 3 or 4 seconds for OCR to recognize new screens, and it also doesn't always work. Sometimes I have to rerun that several times, and it's not obviously real time.
Risk. Me. iPlayer. Version. Shell. Low G. TF. Credits.
Let's try that.
Stellaris.
I think that.
Stellaris. Recognizing. Result document. Select M. Random.
There we go.
Create new. United Nations of Earth.
Okay, now I'm going
Unknown.
to pick the United Nations of Earth because I'm familiar with them.
Left click. Stellaris. Recognizing.
Just basically what
Result
I do
document.
is I use OCR. I select, read the text and find something that looks helpful or that is obviously clickable, and then I can use another command to route the mouse to that item.
Select.
So I went to the bottom of the screen and found select, and
left click.
I'm going to click that. I could also probably have hit enter.
Stellaris. Recognizing.
Now I'm going to run
Result document.
OCR
Hotkey.
again.
Play.
And click play.
Left click.
I could probably bookmark
Stellaris.
these, but some of these screens, like the game settings screen in particular, are kind of complicated because they have so many options that can scroll, and sometimes the options are in the form of sliders, which doesn't necessarily work great with my screen reading and the OCR abilities. So basically, the other big problem with this
recognizing
is that
result document.
OCR, or rather the bookmarks, are dependent on the screen resolution I use. In this case, I'm using 1920 by 1080, but if I wanted to upgrade to my machines to a larger resolution, say, I would absolutely need to redo all the bookmarks because they were painstakingly put in by hand. You'll see that in a moment. So for now, I've got the game opening screen up. I'm going to hit
Empire Homeworld.
begin.
Soul. Paused. Begin. Left click.
There we go.
Stellaris.
Now we're paused, and we're going to stay paused for a few minutes while I talk a bit about how my bookmarks are set up and such. Basically, I have what amounts to about 250 odd bookmarks, and these are generally for things like parts of the screen that I need to access often. Like there's one for the exact middle of the screen, which is useful for positioning and things, as you'll soon discover. There's one for all planetary build slots, which is super useful for fairly rapidly building buildings. And there's one for screens in the traditions view and so on. And also for the alert messages at the top of the screen. For now, I'll deal with those. I know for a fact that when you begin the game, you have 3 different research items to pick, so I'll pick those.
Mouse positions for Stellaris dialog.
I hit another screen reader command, which pulls up a list of all these bookmarks. And the ones for the alerts are called A1 through A6 or so. Alert 1 through Alert 6. And they kind of exploit the useful property that when the game scrolls alert messages, they kind of pop in at a predictable location. So
A1, position A.
Let's go with A1.
Stellaris.
And real quick, to just confirm that I'm in the right place, I'm going to scan.
Recognizing. Result document. 2000, 0, 11, 1, 2.
All these numbers at the top of the game screen are obviously the resource bar, which you can also route your mouse to read, but I'm not going to worry about those.
53.
For now.
3 for research. Click to open technology. There are physics technologies available.
Physics technologies,
Stellaris.
yes. So basically what I do is I read down the screen until I find the tooltip that happens to be displayed, and that confirms I'm in the right spot, and now I'm going to go click.
Left click.
And
Recognizing.
then scan again.
Result document. Mars. Pause. Unlocks. 11. 3000.
I'm going to start at the bottom of the screen because I know that the research items tend to focus that way.
2000. Research. Global energy management. Physics research. Select research. Physics research from. Global energy management. Select research. Joseph LaRue. Engineering. Joseph LaRue. Mateo. Society. Lutner Lazarus. Physics.
Lutner Lazarus. What a name.
Mars. Empire.
My
Soul.
physics
Pause.
researcher. Anyway.
Unlocks edict. Capacity overload. 11. Unlocks building. Energy grid. 2000. 100.
Looks like the research item
100
got
plus 10.
misplaced. The other thing about OCR, which is a little annoying, is that sometimes the order in which it displays things has very little to do with the order in which they are actually on the screen. So sometimes it takes a little bit of figuring out what
100.
to realize
Plus
what's
2%.
going on.
Plus 1. 21. Freeze. Tech. Physics research. Select the tech. Whenever we finish up to administrative research speed. Administrative A1.
Oh yeah, administrative AI. It says A1, but it really means AI.
Research. Quantum theory. 2 Palace. Physics. Lutner Lazarev. 2. Research speed. Administrative A1. Research. Quantum theory. Research. Administrative A1.
Now I'm going to go with administrative AI for the boosted research speed.
Stellaris.
I just root the mouse and
Left click.
And I'm going to do the same thing for the other research items.
Recognizing. Result document. Tech. 100 plus 3. 100. 1. 24. Research. Society. Mateo. 1/3. 108. 105. 3/20. 01. Engineering. Joseph LaRue. Select research. Left click.
Let's go with
Stellaris.
engineering
Recognizing.
research. See what's available.
Result document. Empire. Soul. Pause. 11. Mars. Plus 20. Researcher. Biodiversity studies. Society research from. Researchers. Bio 2000 plus 2%. Select research. Research tech. Select 1. Joseph. Engineering. Mateo. Society. Research speed. Administrate. Lutner Lazarus. Physics. 2 Pal. Unlock speed. Monthly unity. Planetary unification.
Let's go with planetary unification for my society research.
Left click. Stellaris.
And then
Recognizing. Result document.
finally,
Empire. Soul. 11 plus Mars. 2. Joseph. Engineer. 110. Unlock speed. 1. Joseph. Select research. Joseph. Select research. Left click.
engineering, which I thought I was doing.
Recognizing.
Before,
Result document.
but
Mars.
didn't quite click on the right one. I know there are incidentally keyboard shortcuts to access all these parts of the screen, but I was trying to demonstrate the mouse techniques, and to be honest, it's been a while since I played this game, so I do occasionally not do things as efficiently as I would like to.
Mars.
But
Soul. Pause. Unlock carrier operations. Engine. Minerals from jobs. Army damage. Plus 50/Z. Powered exoskeletons.
let's go with powered exoskeletons,
Left click.
not exoskeletons, as my screen
Stellaris.
said. But anyway, okay, there's that. Now, gotta just escape to close the research screen and then make sure that I'm back at the main menu, or main, main map. Now, other thing you do in Stellaris at the opening is send your science ships out. This is one area where the mod that I was, the mod that one of the people on Reddit was kind enough to write comes in very handy. By default, the problem is that the positioning of the hyperlanes is not really predictable. This mod helps to change that and basically guarantees that they will always be in the same locations. So, for starters, I'm going to route the mouse to the center of the screen.
Mouse positions for FC. Center. Stellaris.
center. It's rooted at the center of the screen now. And now I hit 3 for my science ship. I know that it's my science ship because you always start with 4 bookmarks set, and one of them is for your planet, for your starting planet. One of them is for your construction ship. One of them is for your science ship, and the last one, I believe, is your shipyard. But anyway, science ship. Now, the way that this bookmark does things is it basically sets it up so that if you pan the map and keep the mouse centered, you will find stars and hyperlane connections at the edges of the system. This is theoretically possible also to do using the galaxy map, but that's another thing and slightly more complex. So I'm going to just pan the map forward, or up, I suppose, and just start a search for system tooltips.
Recognizing. Result document. EA. Pause. Empire. Sol. Paused. Science ship Walter Raleigh. Ill. No orders. Jacob. Science. Walter Raleigh. Freeze. 1/24. 1. Stellaris.
I also have to remember also have to make sure I'm zoomed out to the right level, because panning takes longer depending on how zoomed in you are, and it's not a thing that I'm used to worrying about since I have no vision whatsoever, but it's important for this particular situation. So
Recognizing. Result document. Empire home. Sol. Paused. Star. Science. Ill. No order. Jacob. Science. Paused. 2003 / Stellaris.
UNS Walter Raleigh. I panned north. I'm not seeing anything. I'm going to try northeast now. Basically, if I can do a check of all 8 cardinal directions, I should find some. Or all, theoretically, hyperlanes.
Recognizing. Result document.
There is an app I could have demonstrated today, but I don't have it currently set up. It's called Stellaris Dashboard, and it basically lets you browse the save game and explore connections and such. But it is currently not installed, so I'll demonstrate that perhaps later.
Stellaris. Recognizing. Result doc. Empire. Sol. Pause. Starfleet. Science. Ill. No order. Jacob. Science. Pause. 2002. Stellaris.
Okay, come on. Where's my...
Recognizing. Result document. Empire homeworld. Sol. Paused. Starfleet. Science. Ill. No. Jacob. Science. Mars. 2. Jupiter. Paused. 2003 1/3. Stellaris.
Maybe I'm not zoomed out far enough. Hard to tell.
Recognizing. Result document. Empire. Sol. Paused. Star. Science. Ill. No. Jacob. Science. Mars. 2. Alice. Jupiter. Paused. 2003 1/3. Stellaris. Recognizing. Empire homeworld. Sol. Pa. Click. Twitter. Intel level. I. Unsurveyed system. Alpha Centauri. Stellaris.
Alpha Centauri. Excellent. Let's do that. I'm going to do right click.
Right click.
To pull up the context menu.
Recognizing. Empire home. Sol. Pause. Survey system. Move here.
And then
move here.
Order my
survey system
to survey the system.
Left click. Stellaris.
And then I'm going to unpause.
Recognizing. Result document. Empire home. Sol. Click or press either. Twitter. Intel. Unsurveyed system. Alpha. Star Fahrenheit class. Science ship Walter. Ill. Moving to the Alpha. Ill. Science ship Walter Raleigh.
UNS Walter Raleigh.
Ill. Moving to the Alpha Centauri system. Stellaris.
Is moving to the Alpha Centauri system. Now, I know for a fact that on Earth, initially, you start out with a free planetary building slot. So I'm going to hit 1 to open Earth, and then pull up my bookmarks again.
Mouse positions for Stellaris. P. Build 0. P. Build 02. P. Build 0. P. Build 05. Position X.
These P. Build 01, 02, 03 are essentially what they sound like. They are bookmarks for the planet screen, and they are for each individual building slot. The nice thing is that these slots are arranged in a neat little grid, and
Stellaris.
Part of the problem is that obviously I'm going to be a little slower at this than your average sighted gamer, which is why I tend to run the game at normal speed.
Left click. Recognizing. Result. Empire homeworld. Sol. Planet. Luxury residences. Free. Upkeep. Holo theater. Holo theaters.
Let's build holo theaters here.
Left click.
I will build holo theaters here once I get resources coming in. Let's take care of that. I'm going to hit 4 for my construction ship. Go back to the center.
Mouse positions for center. Position. Stellaris.
Do a right click.
Right click.
And then
result document 0, 0, 0. Empire X. Construct. Ill. No orders. Construct. Unintended. Normals. 2000. Life. Optimal. The habitable. Shorter. Years before. Star. Whitest. G type. Often refer. Control. Class G. 2 palette. Jupiter. 3/20. Sol. Stellaris. Right click.
Try that again.
Recognizing. Result document.
Sometimes
Empire
these
Homeworld.
clicks don't always
XUCOM CF.
register.
Construction ship. Ill. Estimated arrival. Moving. Construction ship. Unzindas. Normal speed.
Ah.
2000. Mars.
The
Stellaris.
problem is that the ship, sometimes it's easier to interact with stars and other objects from the galaxy map instead. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to try that rather than having it
Right click.
trying to interact from the solar system. Let's do a I pulled
Result
up the
document.
galaxy map and I did a right click from there.
Close galaxy. Alpha Centauri. Build mining stations. 020. Move here.
Now,
Build mining stations.
I'm going to order my construction ship to build mining stations. Route the mouse there and click.
Left click. Stellaris. Recognizing. Result document. Map. Alpha Centauri. Lacking 05. Build mining station. Lacking 05.
It says that
Stellaris.
I'm lacking something, but I'm assuming that's a resource, but it's not entirely clear what it is because obviously the resource is represented by an icon which OCR does not know how to interpret. That is a problem, but I will give it another month or so and try again.
Recognizing. Result document. Close galaxy. Paused. Close galaxy map.
Let's close the galaxy map.
Left click. Recognizing. Result document. 0.
Always seemed
Click to rename. Rename system.
incongruous.
Pause. To Mars. To Palace. Jupiter. Stellaris.
For now, I'm going to unpause and let the time roll on. Basically, I've got bookmarks for most of the game screens. They are slightly in flux at the moment because A, I'm expecting a lot of changes with Federations coming out, and B, the problem that I ran into last time was that, for reasons I do not know, the bookmarks seemed to occasionally, or seemed to change position. The window positioning seemed to change in ways that was not quite clear. So I need to essentially sometimes run through and recheck the bookmarks and redo them, which is tedious and just kind of ought to be unnecessary if this were actually accessible in the strict sense. But since it's not, I deal with it. So let's try that construction order again.
Recognizing. Result document. Click to rename Mars. To Jupiter. 4 100. Normal. 2000. Stellaris.
Okay.
Mouse positions for center position. Stellaris. Right click. Recognizing. Result document. 0 0 0. Close galaxy. Alpha Centauri. Build research stations. 020. Build mining stations. 02. Move here. Build mining station. Left click.
Excellent. There
Stellar.
we go. Construction ship is now building mining stations. Now, one thing you'll notice is that the game does have very nice audio cues. If you're familiar with it, it'll tell you construction complete or survey complete or whatever, and that's super helpful for me. Although it would be nicer if it told me audibly, without me having to use OCR, what item it completed the survey of or whatever, which is sometimes possible to determine, but is just a little tedious at times. But still, all in all, I mean, the reality is that this is far more playability than I have any right to expect from most games in my experience. And all of the screens are, for the most part, generally pretty accessible. There's a tendency in Paradox titles for tooltips that display far more information than the average person would care to read. But in my case, it's essential because the more information I have, the more context I have. Like I have, for instance, the resource bar. All these resource bar icons, for instance, tell me not just how many of the resource I have, but how it's changing and what factors are contributing to it, and so on and so forth. Let me check on the science ship while we're here.
Recognizing. Result document. Closed. Paused. Alpha Centaur. Independent. United. Sol. Science ship Unswell. Ill. Star Fahrenheit class. Sol. United Nations of Alpha Centauri. Barnard Star. Paused.
I forgot that I'd somehow paused the game without
Close galaxy map.
But anyway.
Left click. Stellaris. Recognizing. Result document. Click to rename M. Mar. To Palace. Stellaris.
Let's continue.
Recognizing. Result document. Click to rename. Rename. Jupiter. Starfare. Science ship. Ill. Moving. Surveying Alpha Centauri VA. 00/0.
Oh,
Stellaris.
okay. Science ship is surveying Alpha Centauri VA, which is presumably a moon. And sometimes, like I said, OCR gets confused and says stuff that doesn't always make sense. So it's a matter of familiarity. Part of my strategy for this game is treating it almost like a turn-based game in many cases. That is, I tend to pause a little more than most folks would, I think. But it works, and I'm not playing multiplayer, so I don't inconvenience anyone else aside from myself. But basically, OCR reads everything, including event text and obviously tooltips and so on, very well in this particular game. And I think that is only improved thanks to the OCR mod that I have available. My concern is, if I have a major concern, it's that updates to this game can accidentally break the experience unintentionally and require me to take hours to redo bookmarks or relearn interfaces if they've changed radically, and it's just slightly annoying at times, which is why it took me quite a while to reinstall this game and replay it when restart once I switched to computers here. So let's check on where we are.
Result document. 0, 0, 0. Rename. Mars. 2 Pal. Jupiter. Starfare. Science. Ill. Orders. Surveying Alpha Centauri 680/0 plus 10.
68% is what that 680/0.
Jacob McInnes. Science ship. Normal. 2003/20. 2201.02.03. Stellaris.
Okay, I'm going to try building that holo theaters again. So.
Mouse positions for Stellar. P. Build 0. P. Build 04. Position A. P. Build. Stellaris.
For anybody curious, I did see when I first started here, or when I was really seriously playing this game back in the initial bookmarking phase, I added bookmarks for all the planetary screen, all the data on employment and populations and so on and so forth. And I'm slowly working on redoing those.
Left click.
It's tedious because sometimes figuring out where the bookmark item went to is sometimes hard without sighted assistance.
4. 328.02 upkeep. I300.
I generally have good sighted assistance when I need it, but
left click. Stellaris. Recognizing. Result document. 034. Energy. Entire world built out of photons. The latest. Lacking. Job space upkeep. Lacking 04.72. Stellaris.
Lacking energy. Let's try that again in a bit.
Left click.
There we go. Now, I know, incidentally, one of the nice things that a friend of mine pointed out was that the game tends to let out this little click noise when you mouse over an actionable item. And in this case, it did to tell me that, hey, you can now build your holotheater because you have the resources. So that's being built. I'm going to keep going until an event happens, I think, and we'll see what...
Construction complete.
Excellent. That's my construction ship. Now, I'm going to have it build research stations.
Recognizing. Result document.
Pull
Close
up the
galaxy.
map
Paused.
again, and...
Stellaris. Stellaris. Mouse positions. FC. Center. Stellaris. Recognizing.
Let's try that again.
Result document. 0, 0, 0, 3. Sol. Paused. 409. Mars. Interest. Possibly leading to their extinction.
There's an event.
Talks with swept. They appeared years ago. Else, the Irration language. We have learned that Alpha Centauri 2, from what we have recovered artifacts from an ancient alien civilization on. Alpha Centauri 2, from what we have translated so far there.
Alpha Centauri 2.
Language. We have learned that these aliens called themselves
Random event.
the Irration Concordant. They were an interstellar power hat. Held sway over this region of the galaxy a little over 1 million years ago. They appear to have been 6-limbed mammalians, and there are several references to some sort of plague called the Javorian. Talks with swept across their empire with devastating results. Possibly leading to their extinction. Interesting. Left click.
Situation log updated.
Stellaris.
Now, that is obviously a guaranteed first event kind of thing for as this game gets going.
Recognizing.
So I was
Homeworld.
I'll
Empire
check
home.
the
Soul.
situation
Pause.
later.
X Yukon. Construction ship unzinned. Ill. No. Right click. Corvette. Free. Fleet composition. Piracy. Free. Stellaris.
I'm going to do Sol again.
Right click. Recognizing.
Or build those research
Result
stations.
document. 0. Pause. X Yukon. Construct. Ill. No orders. Construct. Unzinned. Build star. Build mining stations. Build starbase. Outpost. Build mining stations. Move here. Orders. Alpha Centauri. Orders.
Wait.
Move here.
Okay.
Build mining stations. Build starbase. Outpost.
Oh wait, I'm in Alpha Centauri. Accidentally. Well, that's fine too.
Unzinned.
I'll build a starbase.
Build mining stations. Move here. Build mining. Build starbase. Left click.
Anyway, screw that. I don't think I have the resources yet. Let's.
Recognizing. Result document. Map. Pause. Barnard's. Alpha Cent. 0K. Orbit of Neptune. Unzinned completed the construction of a mining station in orbit. 0K.
Huh.
Left click. Stellaris.
That was interesting. Not used to.
Recognizing. 314. Barnard's.
It's
Closed out. Barnard.
sometimes,
X Yukon CLS.
as you can see, it's occasionally possible
Stellaris.
to be disoriented by the game.
No
if
mouse
I'm
positions
not
from top.
paying
Center.
as close
Position.
attention as I ought to be.
Center. Position.
So
Stellaris. Right click. Recognizing.
right. Try this again.
Result document. 0. Alpha. Build research stations.
Ah.
Left click. Move here. Build research. Alpha Cent. Barnard Star. Recognizing. Result. Map. Barnard. Alpha Cent. Any of the cannot build this type of station around any of the planets in the system. Stellar.
I cannot build any stations around any research stations. That's okay. I wish that it would just not bother displaying context menu items that you can't actually complete, but that's how it goes.
Recognizing. Result doc. Closed out. Paused. Barnard Star. Pause. Closed. Left click. Stellaris.
Anyway, I hope that this has been a sufficient demonstration for folks who have been curious about how I managed to play this game. If I were playing it for real, I would obviously be paying more attention rather than trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about next. I apologize, but basically, this is a mostly fully playable traditions. So this little bell indicates that we can unlock traditions. I have, with sighted help, set up bookmarks for all the tradition trees, and basically am able to select the one I want pretty much the same way I selected everything else. So, but since this is just a demonstration and I'm not doing that, I'm going to cut it off here with the assurance that I can continue if I feel so inclined. My current ongoing game is a Commonwealth of Man game, which is expanding rapidly into the late second decade, I think. So for now, thank you all, and I hope that this has at least been interesting, if not engaging. So I will be around, and we'll definitely record more if there's demand for it. Thank you all.
Ops 20. Studio mode check. Setting. Stop recording check.